JP Morgan issues warning to Circle. We have Canada seizing $50 million of Bitcoin. We have a whole lot of stuff here. We have Laos government out here mining Bitcoin. There's a ton of stories going on. If you're excited to get into all the stories, please do repost the stream. We're going to get into all the stories here. We have about 8 minutes to run through them before the day gets too crazy. So first off, we have JP Morgan issuing a pretty intense warning to Circle for stablecoin market now that they have Tether. There's so many different ones coming out, but this is kind of their report. And I don't know, JP Morgan putting out FUD statements. I feel like I've seen this story before. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. We'll see what that happens. But they're predicting a zero-sum battle in the stablecoin markets. Really interesting. But he says, yeah, fierce competition from Tether, Hyperliquid, now these fintech firms. USAT, the new token launched by Tether, is going to be complying with the Genius Act. And this is definitely going to be the White House. And they're going to be using USAT to do whatever they want to do. And in my opinion, I kind of agree with this. I bet they're probably right. I think there's probably a scenario where everyone can sort of play and continue on. But it's basically decided the USDT, Tether, and USAT, led by Bo Hines, who was, the executive crypto director or whatever, the guy who appeared out of nowhere. So that's probably what's going to happen. But really interesting stuff from JP Morgan there. I just saw this from Cointelegraph. And so, yeah, man, interesting stuff. We also saw Consensus CEO Joseph saying MetaMask token is coming, added to be sooner than expected, potentially. MetaMask also came out with a stablecoin token. And so that's rather interesting. I'm not sure what to think about that. We have the Laos government confirming plans to mine Bitcoin, but not specifically Bitcoin. The story is not as cool as it ended up sounding. It's essentially just kind of a foray into the world of mining in general. It's not specifically about Bitcoin. It's not specific to anything really. It's just they want to diversify ways they could potentially make money and bring in income and stuff like that. We saw Poland's Warsaw Stock Exchange list their first ETF giving investors exposure to Bitcoin via their Bitcoin Beta ETF. And this is something we're going to start to see a lot more of. This one is not, and by the way, most ETFs are not exactly, what people think in terms of, how do I say this? Like the ETFs are essentially a wrap. The people call them a wrapper. People call them a group of various stocks and assets and stuff like that. And that's kind of what you're buying into in this ETF. But the idea with most of these is that you're basically just letting them trade for you. Like you're not actually buying Bitcoin. You're getting exposure through futures contracts, right? So like they're basically going to trade Bitcoin and you're just giving them money to do so. And so that's what that is. It is what it is. This is what Wall Street's going to do, and it's going to work. There's going to be a ton of people who throw money into this, and that's going to be their exposure to Bitcoin, and they're going to miss it. They're not going to be buying Bitcoin. But it's an interesting one, and worth bringing up. I think it's a step in the direction we're going to be continuing to head, and there's something we can really do about it. We saw Nvidia to invest $5 billion in Intel to develop data centers, PCs, AI tokens are climbing now because of this, and it feels like it's business as usual. It feels so weird, but it feels like we're slow grinding up. Right after Jerome cut the rates and, we didn't see the markets go crazy. They kind of went down originally, which is potentially the real move. And then it's sort of just like went up and then kind of is just teetering again. And it seems like nothing really happened. And so people are like, okay, well, if there's two more of those priced in 2025, we should be just a slow grind up from here. And, we have this announcement coming out and AI tokens pump. We'll see if this lasts. But it's interesting, because it's like, okay, wow, like, are we at the top of this cycle? Or is this just business as usual? We're going to be back here in 3 months and Bitcoin is just continuing to trend up. It's very possible. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about. But interesting stuff there. We saw, some of the top AI tokens like Near, Tau, and a few of the other ones really start to move there out of some really bad ranges that they've been sitting in for a long time. So, yeah. Let's bounce to this next story here with Canada seizing $56 million, bro. 15 million in Bitcoin, 17 million stablecoins in ETH and other stuff. But crazy, dude. Canada out here making moves. And you got to hold that stuff in cold storage. I see this comment here. Exactly. If you don't hold it in cold storage, you just don't have it. And so it's fine if you don't. But just know that you don't. Just like be aware if it's in Robinhood that is the risk you're taking. Yes, it's easier to move around and sell and buy and all that stuff. But if Robinhood, if anything happens and you can't get your Bitcoin out, that is on you. And so if you have any money in those accounts, just know that. I even have some. And I've made peace with the money that's in there is like, that is normal investing money, but that does not count as cold storage Bitcoin. Just keep that in mind. Hong Kong, DL Holdings Group entering the Bitcoin mining world with a $21.85 million convertible bond deal, partnering with Fortune Peak to acquire over 2,200 ASICs, targeting 200 Bitcoin annually and a Bitcoin reserve of over 4,000 Bitcoin over the next couple of years here from DL Holdings in China. So starting to see a lot of bullish news out of China all of a sudden. And so I'm not sure what to think about that. Let me know what you guys think. If this is good, if I'm not sure. I feel like 2 months ago, I thought there was FUD coming out of China. Maybe not. Let's check in on the price of Bitcoin from our lovely sponsors over at Ostium, incredible trading platform. It looks like we've come down quite a bit, actually. Man, we really touched into that resistance. I don't think we touched 118. Yeah, did not touch 118. Ended up, this was the move down during FOMC, I believe. And everyone kind of during the meeting was saying that was probably the real move. And then we pushed up, and now we're headed back down here. That's a pretty ugly candle. But we're stuck. We've been stuck here forever. I've been saying it like the last week of streams. So like, as long as we can't get out of this range until we have confirmation of one direction or the other, we're just going to be sitting here until then. There's nothing really to say besides that. But look, if you're going to be trading these ranges, if you're looking to get better at trading and scalping and stuff like that, Ostium is an excellent platform to get started. You can trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, the indices, the S&P, the Forex. You can trade everything here on this one platform. You can trade it in your wallets on the side. You can see here, as well as you can trade up to 100x leverage. So really easy to use, cool platform. Use code WOLFC. The link is in the description if you want to try it on YouTube. If you're on X, go to the tweet down below and you'll find it. We got about 1 minute here, and I got to bounce to another stream. So I'm going to go to the final story here. MSTR jumped 6% after Saylor's new guidance at the Bitcoin Unconference, which I highly recommend you go listen to. He had a few different speeches there. Great conference. Great job, Tim, and everyone to put it together. That's really all I have for you guys today, folks. We're going to jump into this next stream here in just a moment. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Please retweet the stream if you enjoy it. We're going to be putting on these all the time. The goal is to give you back your time before the market starts and everything gets too crazy, rather than taking it. So, guys, have an amazing rest of your day. Catch you guys all in the next one. Take care.